My name is Rebecca Miller, and for the past 5 years, I've lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood just outside Denver, Colorado. From the street, my life looked perfect, like one of those glossy magazine covers that promise happiness behind every white picket fence. The garden was neat, the curtains always drawn just right, and beside me stood a husband who, to the world, seemed steady, devoted, successful. But perfection is fragile. And behind those carefully framed windows, mine had already begun to crack. Daniel and I had been married for almost 12 years. In the beginning, he was everything I believed love should look like: ambitious, funny, endlessly attentive. He'd bring me flowers on random Tuesdays, dance with me barefoot in the kitchen, and talk about our dreams as if they were pages of a story we were writing together. But stories change. Slowly, Daniel's ambitions stopped building our future and began devouring our present. Work took priority over laughter. Emails replaced conversation. I'd sit across from him at dinner, his face lit by the blue glow of his phone, and realize that I was dining with a shadow of the man I'd married. There was no cruelty in him, just absence. And somehow, that hurt more. The silence between us grew thick, like fog seeping into every corner of our home. Birthdays became afterthoughts. Anniversaries passed like ghosts. I was living beside a man who was there in body, but not in heart. Then Michael Johnson appeared, filling the empty spaces Daniel had long since abandoned. He lived 2 doors down, a widower raising his teenage daughter, Emily. There was nothing striking about him at first glance, no charm meant to impress. But there was a calmness in him that drew people in, a quiet strength carved from loss. Our first real exchange happened on a warm spring afternoon. I was struggling with a pile of grocery bags when I heard footsteps behind me. Michael appeared, taking the heavier ones from my arms with an easy smile. "You shouldn't have to do this alone," he said. It was a simple kindness. But the way he said it, soft, sincere, made something in me stir. For the first time in years, someone had noticed I was struggling. After that, he seemed to always be around, though never intrusively. When Daniel forgot to mow the lawn, Michael did it without a word. When the fence started leaning, he fixed it quietly at dawn. He never asked for thanks, and yet, it wasn't the favors that stayed with me. It was the way he listened. He remembered things, how I took my tea, that I hummed when I was nervous, that I loved the smell of rain on the pavement. He'd laugh at my terrible jokes, tell me my cookies smelled like home. Each conversation felt like a breath of air in a house that hadn't been opened in years. And then one morning, as I watched him drive off with Emily, a realization hit me with quiet violence. I was waiting for him. Not for Daniel to come home. Not for our marriage to mend. But for Michael. The guilt came instantly, sharp and cold. But beneath it, there was something undeniable. I felt alive again. Was it wrong to crave warmth when you've been freezing for years? To feel drawn to the light when you've forgotten what it looks like? Those questions haunted me. Yet as days passed, I realized something simple. It wasn't wrong to feel human. Michael didn't tempt me. He reminded me that kindness still existed, that I still existed. One evening stays etched in my memory. The sun had just dipped below the horizon when my phone buzzed. A message from Daniel. "Working late again." 4 words. Ordinary but heavy enough to collapse my heart. I sat on the porch, the world around me dimming, when Michael appeared holding 2 mugs of tea. "Chamomile," he said softly, offering one to me. We didn't speak for a while. The silence was easy, almost sacred. Then, his voice broke it gently. "Rebecca," he said, You deserve to be happy. Don't forget that. The words struck deeper than I could admit. My throat tightened. No one had said something like that to me in years. And in that moment, beneath the fading sky, I felt seen. Not as a wife, not as a caretaker, but as a woman who had been lost and was slowly finding her way back. As weeks passed, our bond deepened, though it never crossed any forbidden lines. There was respect between us, unspoken, steady, but his presence changed me. He gave me back my laughter, my voice, the courage to confront the emptiness I'd been avoiding. That courage carried me to the dinner table one night, across from Daniel. I told him everything, the loneliness, the distance, the years of silence that had hollowed us out. At first, he brushed it off with weary indifference, but when he finally met my gaze, I saw something shift. Fear, maybe, or regret. He began to try again, slowly, imperfectly. Coming home earlier, asking about my day, listening, really listening. It didn't erase the past, but it was a beginning. And though I never saw Michael the same way again, I knew what he'd given me wasn't temptation. It was awakening. Even now, when Daniel and I walk through the park hand in hand, I sometimes think of Michael. Not with longing, but with gratitude. He didn't save my marriage. He saved me. Because sometimes salvation doesn't arrive with grand gestures or sweeping romance. Sometimes it shows up quietly, with 2 cups of tea and a single truth. You deserve to be happy.